Welcome to this explainer. Right now, at this very second, there are invisible biological forces dictating your daily energy, your emotional resilience, and your long-term cognitive health. Today, we're not talking about surface-level tips or quick fixes. We are going to explore the hidden operating system running right beneath your skin.
So, what are these invisible forces shaping your life every single day? Well, to answer that, we have to look past the typical life hacks and uncover the complex, interconnected physiological systems that actually govern your human experience. Because every single day, whether you realize it or not, your body is making a quiet, continuous choice. It's either repairing your cells or it's letting them slowly degrade.
To really grasp this, we first need to visualize the autonomic nervous system. Think of this as a deeply embedded evolutionary survival mechanism. It is literally the master switch of your biology. When you understand how to control this switch, you unlock a profound level of cognitive longevity and healthy aging. But the problem? For most of us right now, this switch is completely jammed.
Part 1. The invisible hyperarousal epidemic. This brings us to a massive modern crisis. Our biology is trapped in a relentless state of high alert, and it is silently eroding our health.
We're facing a fascinating yet exhausting biological conflict every single day. On one side, you have the sympathetic nervous system. That's your fight or flight drive, and it pushes us into chronic hyperarousal, daily anxiety, and systemic inflammation. On the exact opposite side is the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the state absolutely required for deep sleep, emotional resilience, and true cellular repair. The issue is that modern life keeps our foot slammed on the sympathetic gas pedal, never allowing us to cross over into that deep parasympathetic repair.
Desperate to escape this hyper-aroused state, society has naturally turned to heavy medications, especially sedative hypnotics like Z-drugs. But the clinical data exposes a terrifying paradox here. We are essentially trading short-term unconsciousness for severe, long-term consequences. Patients on high doses of these drugs actually face significant hazard ratios, anywhere between 1.33 and 1.96 times more likely, for physical falls, hip fractures, and even ischemic strokes. This collateral damage has created an urgent, critical demand in the medical community for a mechanical, body-based solution instead of a chemical one.
Part 2. Hacking the nervous system. What if the key to deactivating that hyperarousal epidemic isn't a pill at all, but a physical manipulation of our evolutionary biology? This brings us to a concept called deep touch pressure, or DTP. Now, using something like a weighted blanket isn't just about feeling cozy on the couch. It is a serious clinical application of this DTP modality. By applying an evenly distributed physical weight across your body, usually around 10 to 12% of your total body weight, you are delivering a very specific environmental signal directly to your brain. You are quite literally physically hacking your nervous system.
Let's track what actually happens in the body here, because the neuroscience is absolutely fascinating. The mechanical compression applied to your skin physically forces open sodium channels, which activates highly specific sensory receptors known as unmyelinated C-tactile afferents. These signals then race at lightning speed up your spinal cord directly to a brainstem region called the nucleus tractus solitarius. From there, it stimulates your vagal nerve, which washes a cooling parasympathetic wave over your hyper-aroused brain.
So, the crucial takeaway here is that this widespread physical pressure convinces your deepest, most ancient neural circuits that you are finally safe. It perfectly mimics the evolutionary sensation of being held or swaddled. You're speaking a language older than conscious thought, telling your biology, hey, it's okay. You're safe enough to power down and begin the work of recovery.
Part 3. The melatonin revelation. But how exactly does this abstract feeling of safety translate into the actual chemical architecture of sleep? What is physically happening in the brain?
To find out, elite researchers at Uppsala University built a rigorous, highly controlled experiment. They brought in 26 healthy young adults and controlled for every single variable they could think of. They even used monophasic contraceptives in the female participants just to lock down hormonal fluctuations. Then, they compared the effects of a heavy 12.2% body weight blanket against a light 2.4% blanket, meticulously tracking real-time salivary shifts in that crucial 1-hour window right before sleep. The results they found were staggering. They discovered a 32% higher increase in salivary melatonin within just 1 hour of applying the heavy blanket. 32%! Melatonin, as you likely know, is your body's master sleep hormone. It's essential for timing your circadian rhythms and actually initiating sleep. Just the physical touch of weight alone triggered a massive hormonal cascade.
But here's where it gets really strange. The data revealed a fascinating biological paradox. While that tactile pressure instantly spiked melatonin on the very first night, it surprisingly did not instantly shut off the body's primary stress markers. There was absolutely no acute drop in cortisol or alpha amylase. Your sleep hormone surges, but your stress hormones stay exactly the same. Why?
Part 4. Reversing clinical insomnia. This paradox opens a huge biological loop for us. If the stress systems don't shut down immediately on night 1, how does this intervention actually cure chronic insomnia over time?
For the answer, we have to look at the long game. When scientists at the Karolinska Institute tested this on 120 psychiatric patients suffering from severe clinical insomnia, many of whom had co-occurring ADHD, bipolar disorder, or major depression, the results were undeniable. After 4 weeks, the heavy blanket group saw their insomnia severity drop by almost 60%. That completely dwarfs the tiny 5.4% response in the control group. Even more incredible, over 42% of them entered complete clinical remission.
And the longer they used it, the deeper the transformation went. Over a 12-month monitoring period, this physical intervention literally rewired their sleep architecture. The median time it took these patients to fall asleep plummeted from a frustrating 70 minutes of staring at the ceiling down to just 30 minutes.
And this right here brilliantly solves our paradox. The physical pressure hacks the pineal gland immediately, spiking your melatonin so you fall asleep fast on night 1. But the true rewiring of the HPA axis, the systemic, long-term lowering of chronic cortisol and daily anxiety, requires a multi-week somatic training of your nervous system. You're actively teaching your body, night after night, how to actually live in a parasympathetic state.
Part 5. The biology of recovery. As we zoom out from the mechanics of sleep, we start to realize that this autonomic regulation is a master key. It unlocks so much more than just a good night's rest. It fundamentally changes how humans function during the waking day.
When we expand this paradigm, the clinical applications are mind-blowing. We see it altering the emotional dimensions of chronic pain right in the brain's insular cortex. For neurodivergent minds, like those with ADHD or autism, it provides absolutely crucial sensory grounding. And in acute trauma wards, doctors are even using it to prevent behavioral escalation and lower resting heart rates without administering a single drug.
It all comes down to this deeply interconnected cascade. Health isn't just a random collection of isolated habits. Physical touch directly influences your vagus nerve. The vagus nerve dictates your parasympathetic recovery. That recovery manages your systemic inflammation, and that inflammation ultimately shapes your cognitive longevity. Every single piece of the puzzle is profoundly connected.
As the synthesis of the clinical evidence base confirms, what seems like a remarkably simple, almost low-tech intervention, a physical weighted blanket, is actually a profound, non-pharmacological tool. It leverages our deepest evolutionary biology to forcefully guide the body out of a destructive survival mode and pull it directly into deep cellular repair.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We've just seen how a single environmental signal, like mechanical pressure on the skin, has the power to rewrite your sleep architecture and literally shift your autonomic nervous system. So as you prepare for rest tonight, consider exactly how your environment is actively instructing your biology to age. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and until next time, keep questioning the hidden systems that run your world.